Sorry. Sorry. Hi. Good afternoon. Um, I wanted to give a shout out to Echo TV because he does a lot of videos about like the celebrities, talk show, overall things. But I want to give him a shout out. Um, and he did one. He's been doing a lot on Ellen DeGeneres, and he also did one on James Corbin. And you know how they've kind of followed in the same limelight with each other with the insults and how they treat celebrities and all that. So, and I found it very interesting what he was saying, which was very good. And I hit the like it. But I find, and this is something that I've always said, when it comes to people, especially in the industry, when it comes to people that are overweight, they always put them in a box, no matter what. They always put them in a box. They always, make, oh, you're funny. Oh, you're this. You're really funny. You make people laugh. You're the biggest joke. Every time. Because no matter, you can have the talent, bar none. It doesn't matter. They're still going to see you as a fat person. And the reason why I say that is because there's always been a stream of people that I've watched in my life. Like, growing up, I used to watch Rerun on What's Happening. And Rerun could dance his butt off and do popping locks and everything. But Rerun was always made fun of because of his weight. Shirley on the show was made fun about her weight. Also, kind of like, I would say, John Belushi too, in that I guess he falls into that because he's a little overweight. But I think with him, he was just so obnoxious the way he would act on Saturday Night Live and his films. And a lot of his things were dealing with drugs and stuff. And he was always, like, he was a malignant narcissist, John Belushi, very malignant narcissist and everything. Because I've watched things from the ladies from Saturday Night Live, the first group, and they went through a lot with those guys on here, Bill Murray and all of them. And it was very toxic. So, I find with him, it was just him being obnoxious. I don't think it more or less was weight. I mean, had weight, but he fell into that party guy persona, and who was influenced by was Chris Farley. And Chris Farley, of course, was a big guy. He was all, with the antics and the flipping and flapping and all over the place. And people would crack up and laugh when he would do a skit. He would fall all over the place, on the table and everything. And it's like, they never get, like, they're just oh yeah, they're funny, they're this, they're that. They're always going to be put in a box, no matter what they star in. They could star in a serious role, and they could bar none be great in the role, but it doesn't matter. You're still going to be a fat person. And I'm just saying it because I grown up with dealing with weight all my life, and I'm still dealing with it, and it's not easy. And I looked at James Corbin, and James Corbin has that same thing. It's like he was in sitcoms over there in Britain, in the UK, and he was, he was successful then, but he got pigeonholed in being the fat friend, And I think somehow wanted more from what I gathered from what Echo was saying. He wanted more from, and Moon talked about this. He was just doing Moon's video, but he talked about this and how he wanted more and how he wanted more success and more of this and more he was getting frustrated. And I think at time he got turned down by one. I think she was a singer. I think he liked her, and she said, "I'm just not into you, I'm sorry." And and I think his little feelings got hurt. So he got very, nasty with people. So I think, the British people, he kind of got his way over here I don't know how he got over here to the U.S. I really don't know, because I really never followed him. I know that they had the Late Late Show with Craig, I don't know what his name is, the Scottish guy, I forget his name. And he was retiring, and he took over for him. But they said that he came over here through One Direction, being like their, I don't understand how, but he was like the comedy person to bring them over here. I don't know. And that's how he came famous over here. But it's like people will have him, he did the Late Late Show, and he managed to have a following with them, but then, it didn't last very long, so they've canceled the show. Well, they're canceling all the late night shows now, Anyway, but so they canceled his show because his attitude was getting like kind of Ellenish, and he was being rude and being crass, and he was being really crass to Patrick Stewart on one award show, and they looked like they were about to brawl, because they said Patrick Stewart was drunk, and he was like, "You need to go sit down," like pretty much telling him to go sit down, and they were not giving each other personal space, and really the people should have said, "Okay, let's go separate," because it looked like they were getting ready to have a fight. But beside the point, it's just he got put in a box, because of him having weight issues. I find the same thing with Lizzo. Now, when Lizzo came out, okay, she's a musician, she's a singer, she's a flautist, she's this. Everything with Lizzo was body positivity. She's naked on the album. She's showing that she's no shame in her game when it comes to her body. Like all throughout 2019, between 2018 and 2019, everything was Lizzo, up to 2022, I think. Always Lizzo, with the walking around with her ass hanging out and everything at a game, at a Laker game, which really was not appropriate. I don't care if you are big, little, or whatever. It's not appropriate for you to walk around with your ass out at a game. And she said she did it as a homage to Prince. Prince did that at a concert, okay? All right? In fact, when he wore those pants, he had lace covering it up. And that was at his own concert with adults. Not walking around in the daggone freaking game. And it was just things that she did, and she was obnoxiously, kind of like a Chris Farley. She wasn't falling all over the place, but she was doing all this stuff. I mean, she did a TED TV with doing the fluting and all that, and she was twerking. I'm like, why, and everything, saying that this is a dance. Well, it becomes derivatives. Some dances come from Africa, okay, but she said that it's a dance in Africa or whatever. And it is some dancers that do that, I mean, in Africa or whatever, but everything with her was obnoxious, and she was heavy set and everything. So now, she had that problem. She had her last album, I mean, the second album, I guess, and it was pretty successful. But after that, she did that tour, and she was harassing, the dancers on tour, being obnoxious, and not reading a room and doing what she's supposed to do, managing her dancers instead of doing crazy stuff at a club that's not appropriate, and I think the dancer sued or whatever. I don't know whether they settled out of court. I don't know what happened to that. But ever since then, she has not, she went quiet for a minute, and then she decided to work on her weight, and I think she's lost weight and all that. They say she's on the Ozempic and everything. I don't know what she's doing, but she's doing her weight loss journey. But she had been promoting her album that came out this year, and the album's not doing good. She's lost weight, and now she's doing the streamer thing with that guy. And I think she's doing streaming now. A lot of people are doing the streaming, that they can make their money that way. Even T-Pain is doing streaming. But it's like, you always are going to be falling into that category of being that fat person, no matter if you lose weight. It's going to always be a stereotype. You're always going to be put in a box. And whenever there's a person that does that, it's the same type of thing. I think even Rebel Wilson, that she's got some stuff with her that's going on with her kind of harassment things or something, like some stuff she's in trouble with. Same thing with her. Same thing kind of with Melissa McCarthy. She's lost weight, but it's hard for her to get roles too. She does pretty okay, and she doesn't expect, like, I'm not going to be a glamour or whatever, but it's kind of hard for her to get roles. It's the industry. It's the way it is. Fat people, overweight people are never going to get their just due, because they're going to see us already as a stereotype. Plain and simple. Like, and the thing about it, I don't understand with James Corbin. You have to also know you are an overweight man. You are the way that you look. You have to deal with the reality that people are not going to accept you. And I think they get delusional about it. I think Chris Farley got a little bit delusional about it, but then he was on so much drugs. It was imminent for him that he was going to pass away. It's sad, but I just was watching that, and I just felt like I needed to express that, because I deal with my own weight issues, and it's not easy. I'm trying to figure out my journey and everything on what to do. As far as my weight, I'm maybe considering the whatever things that are out there, but it's very hard because of the side effects. I don't know. It's like, and then when you get to a certain age, it's very hard to lose weight. Your metabolism slows down and everything. So I just wanted to bring that up. I basically use this channel for me to talk about things that concern me about the world and everything. I just uploaded one on today with, that I did yesterday about work. starting a new job. So anyway, I just thought I'd put it on here, but I hope you all have a great day, and just food for thought. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. All right, bye.